Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. Question number 2. Fanta, we're going to you first on this one. Who is the most underrated team in the Big East right now?
Wow, Villanova. Because if they're not a top 3 team in the Big East, that's a really talented team outside the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Moore, guys, I'm telling you right now, I think he wins Big East Player of the Year, and I think he's an All-American. There you go.
You know what's crazy about that? I can make a pretty strong argument that he's the second best player on that team behind Eric Dixon. That tells you how good Villanova is.
Wow, that's a really interesting argument that I would love to listen to. Here's the thing. This team really excites me. The question is simple. Can Kyle Neptune get them to all come together and mesh and make it all work? Because I really think, guys, if Jay Wright was the coach of this team, you would have them in the top 3 in the Big East.
We would just have them. If Jay Wright was the coach,
have them one.
We'd have them one.
You would have them one. You would have them one. If Jay Wright was heading them up, I would have them one.
So I guess the point then is, all right, that's fine. I don't disagree with you. But if this team is outside the top 3 in the Big East with that much talent, then yeah, I do consider them underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Tyler Burden and TJ Bamba produce the level that we think they're capable of, there seems to be pretty solid buzz coming out of Villanova about Lance Ware and what he's done since he got to campus. That it's just different. He feels different. He feels better. He's going to obviously get an opportunity to play. And maybe that ends up being great for him. At the end of the day, he was recruited to Kentucky. Like, let's call it what it is. He's got the tools. He's got to see everything pan out. Hakeem Hart was an underrated NCAA tournament experience. But guys, the team that Villanova was in the final month of the season, UConn stopped them. Rob, your UConn team, that Saturday night game in Wells Fargo, that stopped the momentum for the Cats. If they don't play UConn that Saturday, I'm convinced they could have beaten anybody else in the league at the time. UConn kind of needed the game. They got it, and it pulled them ahead. I think Villanova is underrated. I am not ready to sit here and say that they're just a 4th or 5th or 6th place team in the Big East Conference with Justin Moore, because you could have questions about Kyle Neptune. You could have questions about whether or not everything pans out. But I know this much. When Justin Moore's on the floor in a Villanova uniform, you can't tell me that the team on the other side doesn't fear what he could do, like NFL teams fear a Mahomes or a Josh Allen.
Big news. The Almanac is officially back. The most exhaustive and comprehensive guide to the 2023-24 college basketball season is available for pre-order now. If you go to cbbalmanac.com, link is in the description below, you can pre-order for just $15.99 or 20% off the sticker price. The format is going to be a little bit different this season. Instead of an 850-page PDF, you'll be getting access to the full site with league-by-league PDFs available for download. The preview will be live on September 20th, so you have until then to be able to get your pre-orders in. So for insight for all 362 Division I teams from their head coaches and the experts that cover them, make sure you hit that link.
Mahomes or Josh Allen's pretty that's a pretty big compliment. But what I will say is Justin Moore settles you down. If nothing else, like whenever he was able to come back, he wasn't 100%, but at the same time, it's almost like the whole Villanova team took a deep breath. If you look at their roster, there's so much to like. There's so much like. TJ Bamba was a very good player last year at Washington State. He can score inside. He's super athletic. Hakeem Hart is a big switchable forward who can knock down some shots. Lance Ware is a super athlete that I'm curious to see what he does in a different system, because a lot of times in Cal's system, a guy like Lance Ware gets stuck in the dunker. So you don't really get to see the entire scope of what they can do. Not that that's a bad thing. He's just very good at that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. If you look at another underrated team, are we going to look past Sean Miller and Xavier? Like they added some guys, huh?
Too many tough injuries.
Yeah, too many tough injuries. You're right, but I mean, they added a bunch too. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Now, if I'm missing an injury, just let me know because there's so much going on. But Davion Knight, Western Kentucky, 16.5. Is he hurt?
No, they got the guards. It's Fremantle and Hunter that are questionable about whether or not they're going to play this season.
Well, here's another thing with that. What they added 2 European kids, one big kid here recently, and another one. We have no idea. No idea.
Based on what I've heard is that the kid from Lithuania is most likely to have the biggest impact early, just because he's 22, he's got 1 year left. What the comparison that Sean made to me was like, imagine an Ivy League kid transferring up to the Big East for his last season of eligibility. He'll be a good role player slotting at the 4.
But when you have guards that can score like that,
yes, that's really all you need.
Yeah.
The Lazar Djokovic, the kid from I believe he is Serbian.
Is he Croatian or Serbian?
I don't remember. He's somewhere in the Balkans. He's a guy that probably has the highest ceiling and is the most similar to what like Zach Fremantle is, but he's also 19. It's going to take him a little bit of time. And then the big kid, I think it's Sasa Siani, is just a big body. Like he's going to come in and help and rebound, and he's 20 years old already. So all 3 of them will play. All 3 of them will have an impact. We didn't mention Providence yet for the most underrated teams.
I was going to let you have it because you need to gain ground with the Providence fans. So I was going to let you have it.
Look, Devin Carter and Bryce Hopkins could very well both be first team All Big East players. Bryce Hopkins is the best forward in the league. If I'm wrong on that, please let me know. He's the best forward in the league. He's the best 4-man in the league. I think Devin Carter. With
gone, yes.
Yeah. I think Devin Carter is the best on-ball defender. All due respect to Stevie Mitchell. I think Devin Carter is the best on-ball, kind of one-on-one, shut down corner, so to speak, defender in the conference.
No
I think
Posh?
Garway, huh?
No Posh. We're not throwing Posh in there.
I mean, you could put Posh in there if you want, but he plays for Butler. Like, are we having? Sorry, Butler. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
It's not a joke. He's serious.
I still think it's Devin Carter. I think that Garway Dual is a guy that by the end of the season we're going to be talking about potential like first round ability. I think that from what I've heard coming out of there, we got to have real conversations about like this being the breakout year for Corey Floyd. Like I think he's got a real shot. And then the pieces that Kimmy brought with him from George Mason, I do believe are going to be good role players in the Big East. I wonder about the point guard spot. Like that to me is a big concern. And the same thing that we talked about with Kyle, like if you gave Ed Cooley this roster, we'd be talking about them as like number 1, number 2 in the Big East. It's the same kind of a thing where like we all believe in Kimmy, kind of got to see him do it before you go all the way in. But I think there's a real possibility where Providence, we look up and they're a top 15 team in February. And I think that there's a real possibility that like they finish first or second in this conference. Right. It's a tough league. There's a lot to get through, but you're biting your lip.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why.
Go ahead, Terrence.
You're talking about number 1 or number 2 in the conference. If Cooley was there, Josh Oduro was good in the A10, but like this Big East is a lot more physical league. And the A10 was down last year. Justin Fernandez was a highly recruited kid out of high school. He was like a top 125 kid or whatever.
ACL. I don't know if he's going to play.
Okay, so he's gone. Devontae Gaines, is that the ticket? They call him the ticket.
Gaines, yeah.
I saw him once last year. He was fine. Will McNair, 3
He's gone. Will McNair's gone. They brought in another freshman.
Fine. They're all fine. And Gary Dwell.
All I'm saying, T.O.,
they're fine.
All I'm saying is that when you combine 2 guys that could be first team all league with a bunch of players that are fine, as long as those players that are fine buy into, like if Ticket Gaines buys into the idea that I got to defend and I got to make catch and shoot threes, like he can do that and he can do that well enough. Now, I'm not saying that they are going to finish first, like, because there's also a possibility that this is an NIT team if it doesn't all work out. But I can tell myself a story and I can get to the idea that this is a top 15, top 4 seed kind of a team in the Big East this season. I don't think that that's crazy to say.
Hey, I love Providence as much as the next guy. That's not true.
Well, here's the thing.
Hey, Friar fans, listen up.
It's not true, guys.
I know you guys love Terrence, and you hate me.
Rob, they know.
Who's on the bandwagon this year? Who's on the bandwagon this year?
Hey, well, there's just so many new moving parts. Now, I will say I'm a fan of Rafael Castro. I think he's a very talented kid.
Yes.
That Big East is loaded. They're not winning the Big East.
It is
loaded, man. They're not.
It's crazy. Like they might be 6th in the preseason poll. Like, it's crazy how good the top of this league is. And oh, by the way, Fanta, we haven't talked about Rick Pitino yet.
Well, we have not, and that deserves its own segment and its own YouTube video because it will get the traffic. We know that much. But let's talk Providence here for a moment. So here's my thought. Okay, I actually am going to go against you in the way that you don't think. I think if Ed Cooley were the coach still at Providence, I don't think this team would finish first or second either. Okay, because I just don't think. I think that this is a good team. I think Providence is good. I think if Kim English finishes first or second in the Big East, he should be up for National Coach of the Year. Yeah. That's how great of a year he would have. The Big East could be the best conference in college basketball. If Kim English is that good, he should be up for National Coach of the Year. I like this team. I think Bryce Hopkins could be Big East Player of the Year, and it wouldn't surprise me. Devin Carter is excellent. We knew he was good defensively. The player he's become on the offensive end of the floor is really something. He's developed his game. He works his ass off. He's a good player. This comes down for me to Corey Floyd, if he is, in fact, a breakout guy, Jaden Pierre becoming that Big East point guard, reliable, playmaker, making things happen, look good on their foreign tour. It was a foreign tour, but he looked smooth. He did the right things. Josh Oduro is the guy that, if he's able to handle it, Terrence, I know you said it's a question, A10 to Big East. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
If Oduro comes into Providence and is able to fight and is able to compete and win battles in the paint, then I could see Providence being a top 3 team in the Big East. I think that this team is somewhere between 4 and 6 in the Big East, can very well finish in the top 5. But I think if you say that you could see them finishing first or second, this isn't about Providence as much as it is they compete in a league that sent 3 to the Sweet 16 last year. And I know Friar fans will say, we could have been there. Our coach the last month of the season had other stuff going on. I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you on that either. The last month of the season, it's clear now that Ed Cooley had his head in different spaces. The fact is, Marquette's in the Big East. Creighton's in the Big East. And the defending national champion UConn Huskies are in the Big East. And we just all said, did we all just agree? Or am I wrong? That you could argue Villanova has the most on-paper talent of all these teams? On-paper talent. Do they?
Yeah, close. Yeah. As a whole, correct. As a whole,
that's why it's not fair. I'm getting fired up now.
I like it.
Here. That's why I'm sitting here saying I
post-honeymoon Fanta. Post-honeymoon Fanta.
I like Providence. But I don't know if it's fair to put that level on them. I think they're an NCAA tournament team. I think they're a top 25 to 30 team in the country.
Yeah, probably. I think that's the most likely outcome. Yeah. All right. So
hold on. Counterpoint. That we are putting a lot of weight on Josh Oduro's shoulders for them to be that good.
He's got big shoulders. He's got broad shoulders.
Kim English thinks that,
but he
that's
doesn't.
Wrong.
He's 6'9", 235, guys. Like in the A10, that's big, right? A10, that's a pretty big guy. All right, so just arbitrary situation. I went down one team alphabetically. Who's that? That's St. John's. How big's Joel Soriano? 6'11",
265.
How big's Ryan Kalkbrenner? 7'1", 255. How big is Donovan Clingan? Like, it's a whole different level. I know it doesn't seem like a huge
all right, let me ask you this. Tio, who won?
It is.
Tio, who won the Big East last year?
Marquette.
How big is Oso Ighodaro?
That's different.
And
even so,
lawyered.
So, okay, so even so,
lawyered.
Oso Ighodaro operates on the perimeter. Has Josh Oduro proven he can guard on the perimeter consistently?
I'm going to go ahead and say yes because I want to win the argument.
All right. Gotcha.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.